The news covered it all, man. But this is what has been in charge in the last 4 years. Yeah. DEI couldn't scream any louder. Didn't earn it. Drunk entire inventory. Yeah. Unbelievable. Needs a teleprompter for the Pledge of Allegiance. It's this is what has been in charge in the last 4 years. Yeah. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. God bless them beautiful patriots. If you missed my video we did on this yesterday, it was amazing. It's comedy. Go check it out. You'll have a good laugh. But I got to make a second video because Fox covered it. I got to have fun with it one more time, y'all. One more time.
After confidently predicting a Kamala Harris victory, Democratic strategist James Carville is now admitting that his crystal ball was wrong. And it's hard not to put a smile on your face with this one, conceding that he failed to listen to his own famous advice. It's the economy, stupid. It was that and a whole lot of other things. Carville also proposed that the Democratic Party needs to go big and go populist after losing the economic narrative. But here's another piece of advice Democrats should consider. Stop nominating terrible candidates. Just today, Kamala Harris seemed to forget the words of the Pledge of Allegiance. Watch this.
A disgrace.
Please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That is sick. Out of a disgrace. She ought to be ashamed of herself, man. They ought to walk her out with a hand. I think they ought to walk her out right now, with her hands behind her back. Yeah. One of the worst candidates. I'm saying they're going to go back and have a full blown study with the times that we just we lived through. I'm telling you, the whole administration needs to be investigated. I'm telling you, 81 million, a cheap fake, a deep fake, drunk as hell, bottles all on the floor, on the table, piss drunk. Can't complete a sentence. Can't put a sentence together. This is what has been in charge in the last 4 years. DEI.
Oops. Here now with reaction, Hoover Institution senior fellow Victor Davis Hanson, the Federalist correspondent Brianna Lyman, and Democratic pollster Doug Schoen. Doug, thank you all for joining us. But Doug, come on,
Sure.
To mess up the Pledge of Allegiance that for the Vice President of the United States, that should be an easy one, right?
Well, it just underscores how really unsuited she was for national office and certainly not to be the President of the United States. And as for James Carville, he was so certain the Democrats were going to win. Everybody who was against Kamala Harris was either wrong or stupid or racist or out of touch, whatever. I think we realize that we are a divided country. The issues, as he's now acknowledged, the economy, the southern border, crime, we're all working for the Republicans. And ultimately, as you've suggested and your other guests have suggested, the victory was clear. And I think my party needs to do a real rethink of where it stands, cooperate with Trump where they agree, where the American people want cooperation, and seek to carve out a new and arguably different identity for the Democratic Party, like the one we had in the Clinton years, which was centrist, fiscally conservative, tough on crime, and strong on the southern border. That Democratic Party can win. This Democratic Party just lost.
Now, they lost in a big way, Brianna. What's your take on it? I mean, Kamala Harris was a horrific candidate. I mean, she came in, I think, 6th place in California behind Andrew Yang, dropped out before they even got to the first vote, for goodness sake. I mean, she was the cat's meow at the beginning, but by the time people actually listened to her, they were ready to get rid of her, but somehow she became the vice president and became the nominee.
Yeah, and that's a story for the entire Democratic Party. You know, James Carville, a few months ago, he correctly pointed out that Democrats went from "it's the economy, stupid" to "you're stupid if you think this economy is bad." And he was right. Democrats, including Kamala Harris, have spent months telling us that this is one of the greatest economies we've ever had. They use metrics that most Americans do not use, like GDP. And then they also went and told us that, yeah, things are bad, but we're not in a recession because we're redefining a recession. Carville called that out, and he was right. And yet now he does a 180, and he says that Americans didn't want to settle for soaring GDP and subsiding inflation. That is why the Democrats lost. Soaring GDP is not a metric average Americans use. And yeah, inflation may be subsiding from record highs created by the Biden-Harris administration. Americans remember, inflation was still lower when Donald Trump left office compared to today. And until people like James Carville, Kamala Harris, and the party gets it, they will continue to lose.
Yeah, come on, Brianna. I mean, my wife Julie and I always sit around the kitchen table talking about the GDP and how that affects the price of eggs. I mean, that's just come on, that's just a common occurrence. But Victor Davis Hanson, you're one of our favorites. I mean, it just seemed that the basic premise and thesis of these candidates and their party as a whole never rang true to the American people.
No, it didn't. I think James Carville knew she was going to lose, and he felt that he was dutiful to build momentum by saying she was a sure winner and trash Trump, but he's not stupid. Doug made a good point. From those wilderness years of 20 years, from 1972, starting with the McGovern left-wing disaster and the landslide Nixon victory, all the way to Bill Clinton's victory in 92, that was 20 years where they only had 4 years of Carterism. Clinton came in and rejected Carterism. You go back and look at the 1996 convention platform of the Democrats, Jason. It's fiscal sobriety, balanced budget, close the border, tough on crime, no exemptions for youthful offenders. They even use the word God's country, God's nation, when they talk about green policies and conservation. It was a very moderate fiscal sobriety, and it was a winning agenda. And they renounced that, and they rejected it, and they went into first a progressive Obama period, and then this French Revolutionary Jacobin crazy period, and they destroyed the party. Carville knows that, and he knows what he has to do. He's got to go back to the 1996 platform. Nancy Pelosi and people like Chuck Schumer were giving speeches about why they had to close the border, and it was to protect union wages and the integrity of citizenship. That seems surreal today. It just almost seems like impossible to even imagine the Democratic Party of that nature.
Yeah, and adding on to that, Doug, it just seems like the Democrats are void of policy ideas. What new creative policy idea did they bring to the table? I can't even name anything.
Jason, there wasn't anything. And look, I appreciate what Victor Davis Hanson.
Disgrace. The worst administration, worst president, worst we've ever seen. There needs to be a full. These times are gonna be studied, y'all. Yeah, this is what has been in charge the last 4 years. People need teleprompters. They can't even say the Pledge of Allegiance. Disgrace. Yeah. But what do y'all think of this? Comment down below. And again, if you missed our video we did on it yesterday, it was pure comedy. You're going to have an amazing time with it. I'll have it somewhere up here where you can click on it. Make sure you click on that and go check it out. We had a good time with it. You're going to have a good laugh if you go check that video out. I love you guys, man. We're going to continue to spread the love, the positivity. We're going to have fun, be real, and we're going to have an amazing 2025, man. Bless you all and your family. And I will catch you beautiful patriots in the next one. Peace and love, y'all.